Happy February! For this month I decided to go with a hearts theme. It was something that was fairly easy for me to draw and provided a lot of color for the page on each of the spreads for the month. For a really doodly look, I first outlined everything in my Fineliner and then filled it in with my Crayola Supertips to give that kind of careless and coloring book effect. I really liked how it turned out and provided a lot of color on each of the spreads for the whole month. I stuck with a basic color palette, so I did the black pen and 3 markers, 2 pinks and 1 red. The pinks were very close together, giving a subtle change in color, but the red really did stand out on each of the pages. For the calendar page, I continued with that heart motif across the top of the page and also filling in the month February on the top, and then I did the regular squares. These were 8x9 block size and gave a lot of room for planning during the month. I've been really busy and wanted something easy with lots of planning space since I'm planning a wedding. On the bottom of each block, I wrote out the day of the month again. I really like how this kind of adds a clean vibe to the layout and gives it a little bit more interest, especially with all the writing in the blocks. For the calendar, I just kept all the color to the top of the page with my 3 colors, the red and the 2 pinks. And I really like how the white space really gave a lot of room to plan, and throughout the month when I filled in the boxes, it really did kind of add to that doodly effect from the hearts at the top. On the habits page, I did banners across the top of the pages, kind of like when you had the kindergarten Valentine's Day parties. And on the bottom, I did this simple mood tracker on the right and the habit trackers on the left, with just the numbers for the days going across the top of the tracker. I really went simple with writing out the habits in cursive and then just doing simple numbers and design for the mood tracker and the habit tracker to keep that doodly effect. In the spaces where the trackers weren't, and I did a sleep tracker on the bottom, I did hearts kind of stopping where the tracker was to give that kind of cut-out effect, especially what you get with the little homemade cards. And then the hearts for the mood tracker were an easy way to fill in and keep that same motif with the same 3 colors that I'd used across the rest of the spreads. Moving on to the weekly spread, I went with something pretty simple with just lines to separate the days of the weeks and give a notes section. On the bottom left corners, I wrote out the days of the week in all caps, kind of going with that same font as the calendar page, and then I used the marker to outline the heart itself, going away from that doodly shape just a little, so that when I write over the top of it, the pen doesn't get jumbled up in the lines of the hearts. And so I did a couple big hearts in red and then went in with the 2 pinks to make some smaller hearts to keep with that motif over the spreads of the month. And I really like how it turned out. You can see the daily planning over the marker, and it just gives a nice pop of color and some interest to the page that otherwise would be kind of plain. And now here's the full February 2020 spread.